Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings. First and foremost, as we get into tonight's word, man, we must acknowledge our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through His only begotten Son, Yahushai, for allowing this word to come out. And I hope you sincere brothers and sisters are truly edified by tonight's word. And we're going to name this word, learn to tame the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Let me say it again, man. The name of tonight's word is called learn to tame the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, man. Tonight's, it's going to be a cold-blooded word, man. It's going to be a sobering word. It's going to be one of the words that provoke thought, a word that provoke consciousness. In the time that we live in the world we live in, man, we living in a world where speaking reckless, speaking malicious and evil can be very dangerous to you. And it can be very dangerous to the ones you speaking towards, man. So, in this word tonight, man, I'm hoping that you guys can develop the skill set of holding your peace, holding your silence. In Proverbs 17 and 18, it tells you a fool is deemed wise if he shut his mouth and keep silent, man. That's Proverbs 17:28, man. So if you're a spiritual person, man, and you're trying to live the best that live the best that you can according to the Bible, man. I think it's very important that you learn the skill set of holding your peace and your silence. I understand sometimes we can get emotional. I understand sometimes things can get really out of control. But we must be mindful that be careful what you speak, because it could hurt you either way. It can hurt you, man. It can backfire, or what you speak can really come into existence, and now you got to deal with that. So I know a lot of us don't understand the power of the tongue, but death and life is in the power of the tongue, man. And just pause for a minute and just think about that. Something that you could say could end result in death, or end result in saving your life or somebody else's life. It just depends on what it is, man. So in this word tonight, man, I just want to kind of speak on learning to tame the tongue, learning to hold your peace, learning to be silent, man. In Proverbs 18 and 21, it reads, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. See that? So right out the gate, it's telling you in Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power. Death and life are in the strength, the care, the charge of what? The tongue. What is the tongue? The organ of speech. Okay, what is the tongue? The verbal vehicle used to speak, used to talk and speak evil and malicious. That's right. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. Death and life is the strength, is the care, is the charge of the organ of speech, which is the tongue, which is the verbal vehicle used to talk and speak evil and malicious. And it says in Proverbs 18 and 21, and they that love it, they that demonstrate the desire to speak very ill, shall eat the fruit thereof. In other words, shall receive the actions and consequences of their speech, man. You see that? So that's why you have to be very careful when you get to talking that talk, man. When you're emotional, when you're upset, you got to be very careful, man, because you could be lining yourself up, or you could be lining somebody very close to you up for an unfortunate situation, man. What's the name of the lesson, man? Learn to tame the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Yeah. And like I said, just think about it, man. We all have gotten to verbal altercations that end up turning to physical altercations. And sometimes it's just been verbal alone, just verbal altercations where it starts off as trash talk. It might start off as an argument. However you have it, argument, trash talking, whatever you have it. But in that level of trash talking, it comes threats. When threats start being spoken upon, now it becomes malicious. It becomes real reckless. It becomes real evil talk now. And a lot of times people speak without thinking, not knowing and not understanding that when you in that state where you feel like you need to be in a retaliatory spirit of talking reckless to someone, stooping to the level, to the low level of malicious and evil, because they maybe have hurled something malicious and evil at you. What end up happening is, man, you end up going too far. You end up saying something you really didn't mean to say. But now that it's out in the universe, you really got to stand on it now, because you're going to be held accountable for it either way you look at it. So a lot of times, man, learn to tame the tongue, a.k.a. hold your peace in silence. Again, in Proverbs 17:28, it tell you a fool is deemed wise if he shut his mouth and keep silent, man. And I'm telling you, if you exercise holding your peace, holding your silence, man, you can go to bed at night and know you didn't let no reckless, malicious, and evil talk come out of your mouth towards anybody, man. And that's really where you want to be at, especially you being a spiritual person, man. As you ready close out this word, man, I want to bring you James chapter 3, verses 6-8, man. Give me a second, man. Just bear with me. I thought I had it queued up, but I don't. But, just bear with me, man. But it's very, very important that if you don't learn nothing else tonight, brothers and sisters, learn to tame the tongue, man. In James 3:6, it reads, "And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and set it on fire, the course of nature, and is set on fire of hell." See that? So when we analyze James verse 6, the first thing it says, and the tongue, the organ of speech, okay? The verbal vehicle used to talk and speak evil and malicious is a what? Is a fire. It's an explosive, okay? A world of iniquity, a world of sins, okay? So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body and set it on fire. In other words, it brings destructive influences, okay, of nature, and it's set on fire of hell. See that? Verse 7, for every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, is restrained, in other words, and have been restrained of mankind. Verse 8, but the tongue, once again, what's the tongue? The organ of speech. What's the tongue? The verbal vehicle used to talk and speak evil and malicious. Okay? Can no man tame? Can no man restrain? It is an unruly evil. In other words, the tongue cannot be restrained. It's destructive. It's injurious. You see? It says full of deadly poison. In other words, the tongue is fatal. The tongue is the lethal venom under the lips. spoken by men to maliciously harm others. You see, the tongue, man. Y'all ain't heard nothing I said tonight, man. What's the name of the lesson? Learn to tame the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, man. What you see on the screen, this is what it looks like, man, when you don't tame your tongue. All what's going to come out of your mouth is fire, blast, fizzle, evil, fatal. Is what's going to come out of your mouth, man. And it ain't going to end bad. It ain't going to end good for you. It's going to end bad. You dig? So please, brothers and sisters, understand. Learn to tame the tongue. Hold your peace and keep silence. Because when you do that, that's saying a whole lot. You don't need to say no more other than hold your peace and hold your silence, man. I hope you sincere brothers and sisters were truly, truly edified by this word. And we give all praises, glory, and honor to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahushua, for allowing this word to come out, man. Shalom.